Extremely successful people understand how to use their time effectively, and personally, it's something I've gotten much better at doing as the years have gone by. It is a skill well worth learning because it will give you full control over your schedule and it will allow you to be productive without feeling overwhelmed. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the concept of time boxing, also known as time blocking. And I'm going to talk about how you could go about incorporating this technique into your everyday life. But first, what is it? Simply put, it is the practice of setting a fixed amount of time for each task and integrating the resulting time blocks into your daily schedule. A few people that you might be familiar with who all use the practice of time boxing to manage their busy task loads include Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Jack Dorsey, Jeff Bezos, and they all have a lot of things in common, the most prominent being that they are filthy, stinking rich. To keep their packed schedule organized, they pre-plan out their day in advance and stick to it to maximize their productivity. Now, before I go any further, you might think that having all of your activities planned out might cause additional stress because now you need to keep up with a really busy schedule, which means technically you will have less unstructured free time. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because I know this concept kind of scares people. It is very common in my day-to-day life and a lot of people I know. When you have a busy schedule, that's stressful. That can freak people out. However, I am a true believer that when I get caught in the traps of distraction brought upon by this additional free time, my productivity goes down. My stress levels actually go up and I don't end up feeling relaxed, which is the goal in that downtime or that free time. I end up being more stressed out than I should be. Doom scrolling on social media is a big killer for me, and I really wanted to put some emphasis on the concept of how unstructured free time can be negative if it goes unchecked. This is effectively how Parkinson's law comes into play, where we feel the allotted amount of time we allocate to do a certain task. And I've actually made a video talking about this topic and I've linked it down in the description below. It kind of intertwines with the message that I'm trying to get across in this video, so I would highly recommend going and giving that video a watch after you finish this one. Anyway, this threat that Parkinson's law poses can actually be combated, and it's pretty easy to do it through the technique of time boxing in two different ways. Number one is that when you plan out your tasks in advance, it's going to give you specific direction on what you should be doing with that time instead of umming and ahhing to figure it out. And number two, during that window of opportunity, that time that you allocate towards doing that task, it's going to give you specific focus to put your head down and seriously work hard at getting or achieving whatever it is you're setting out to accomplish. The idea being that you're essentially telling yourself, during this hour, I am focusing on this thing, nothing else. This is what my time is going to be spent doing. And theoretically, you should be producing a higher quality of work, or at least more work focused on that specific topic, because that's what you are specifically allocating that time to be doing. So that's the why you should consider using this method. Now let's talk about how to use it effectively. For a beginner, the easiest way to start time boxing is to choose a few days out of your week that either have nothing planned on them or they are a very busy and tight schedule. Then, using your preferred method of planner, write down all of the tasks that you want to get done or that you need to get done. I personally use my phone's digital calendar. However, there are many different options available and you should pick the one that works best for you. I know people that use sheets of paper similar to a to-do list. I know people who have whiteboards hung up in their bedrooms that they update on a weekly basis. Like I said, pick what works best for you. And then once you have your list, you want to estimate how much time you think it's going to take you to do each of those tasks. Just as one example, here's what a day-to-day list might look like for myself without incorporating anything too specific. I'm going to keep it super generic. I might wake up, have breakfast, which takes about 15 minutes. I might practice my Italian in the morning. I might have a shower. I definitely will have a shower. I might drive to work if it's a work day in the office, and then I'll work for 9.5 hours because that's how long my shifts are. I'll go to the gym after work, I'll cook dinner, I'll read for about 30 minutes, and I'll go to bed. Now, I might have pockets of time in between all of those activities, but they are the core tasks that make up my list. And the reason why you're putting time estimates against each of those activities is to basically break them down into increments that are reasonable. The word reasonable is very important here, and I'll talk more about this in a moment. If your day or list isn't overly complex, my recommendation would be to actually pick them in any order that you see fit. The key here will be to only spend the amount of time you've allocated on each task and then move on to the next one. So as soon as time runs out, stop what you're doing, pick another thing off that list, and then start doing that for the allocated time you've set to basically get it done. And this is a great way to begin because essentially you'll have your fixed components in that list. So for me, it would be work and probably driving to and from where I work. I can't really change those hours around too much. However, I could change reading, which is on my list, from nighttime to the morning if I woke up a little bit earlier and wanted to get it over and done with for the day. And then when you're ready to level up in terms of your time boxing technique that you're incorporating in your day-to-day life, I would highly recommend using a digital calendar. It's not even a question. Learn to incorporate a digital calendar into your daily life and set reminders, set time windows, stick to those windows of opportunity to actually do those tasks, and your productivity will just soar. This will stop you from falling into the traps of the planning fallacy, which is also another topic related to time boxing. And funnily enough, I've actually made a video on that topic too. I kind of want to put this disclaimer in there. There are 3 videos which all intertwine with the topic of today's video. The first one being time boxing. That is video number 1. You're watching it right now. Video number 2 is Parkinson's Law. I mentioned that a little while ago in today's video. And number 3 is the planning fallacy, which is what I'm kind of getting to now, and I'll talk a little bit about it, but I won't go into too much detail because there's a whole video I've linked down in the description below that you can go and watch in your own time. The main concept here is that most people suck at estimating, and we tend to waste time doing a specific activity when we don't stick to the plan, which takes us into the second aspect of how to time box successfully, and that is to avoid jam-packing your schedule with too many tasks that are not reasonable. That word, reasonable, taking it back to what I was saying before. You only have a certain number of hours each day that you can be working on things. Make sure you are practical with what you plan on getting done so that you can maximize the time spent actually doing the things that make it onto your to-do list. Finally, let's focus on how to combat interruptions that will throw your day out of whack. In some circumstances, you won't be able to do anything about it. It will just be one of those days. However, usually you will be able to make time for most of these types of distractions. I like to block out roughly an hour of my day to address anything that comes up that would be distracting in my busy schedule. An example is I get a lot of emails, potentially messages that I need to reply to. Someone might ask a question in my social groups, and if I'm in my time block doing a specific activity, I will wait until I get to the other time block that I've set aside to actually address them. I might have an hour to just respond to all of the questions asked in my social media group chats, where I can just troll through it and actually spend time doing that without getting caught in the traps of I'm trying to write the script for a video and I'm picking up my phone every 10 seconds, just wasting time that I could be using to get this job done. I guess the way that I want to summarize today's video is that time boxing is something I have fully incorporated into my daily routine, and it's something that has allowed me to become incredibly productive. At the age of 28, I am in full control of my daily task list. I rarely get overwhelmed with my busy schedule. I would say that I am very organized on top of what I mentioned just a moment ago, being that I think I am incredibly productive. For anyone wanting to reduce stress or make the most of the short amount of time they have to do things each day, I would highly encourage you to incorporate time boxing into your daily life in some capacity. And that is pretty much all I have for you today. Hopefully it was insightful what I talked about, and if it was, please hit that like and subscribe button down below. I hope you enjoyed the video, and that is where I'm going to leave you. So have a good day, have a good week, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.